Okay, we have a jam-packed video today. We're gonna be starting with homemade boba pearls made by hand, and then we're gonna blend that with freshly brewed Thai iced tea. After, we're gonna mix up some instant boba pearls and some instant Thai iced tea, and then you guessed it, compare the two, find out which one tastes better. My mouth is watering, I'm so excited, so let's do it. Welcome to Who's Got the Tea, where we explore all things tea. My name is Shayna Hu, and I'm a tea enthusiast exploring teas and taking you with me. Before we get to making our boba pearls and our Thai iced tea, let's talk more about them. So boba tea originated from Taiwan. It's actually a treat that mixes milk, tea, and their dessert-like tapioca balls called boba pearls, boba balls. So boba pearls or boba balls actually are made from tapioca flour. And tapioca flour comes from a root-like vegetable called cassava. So because boba balls don't have their own flavoring, usually syrup or brown sugar are added for flavoring. So, Thai iced tea, as you hear in the name, originates from Thailand. It's actually consisting of black tea with spices and dye that makes it that distinct red-orange hue. When you add additives, such as your condensed milk, evaporated milk, or just regular milk, it makes it the very distinct orange color that we have known and come to love as Thai tea. But now that we know what we're cooking, let's get busy. So to begin making the boba, I added boiling hot water to the tapioca flour. The ratio was 2 tablespoons of boiling hot water to 4 tablespoons of tapioca flour. Initially, when I started mixing, it didn't seem like the rest of the flour was mixing in with the portions that had been mixed in with the water. I proceeded to mix for quite some time actually, and I added more water and then added more water. It just seemed like the mixture was very flaky, very dry, and so I took to the board, started trying to manipulate it more with rolling and kneading. I ended up needing more flour. It eventually just became a mess. So take 2. We tried this again, started from scratch. So I tried the 2 tablespoons of hot water to 4 tablespoons of the flour. And what I tried doing this time was making sure that the water was really boiling. I took it straight from the pot because I wanted to make sure it was the hottest that I could possibly get it. After, I made sure to distribute the water throughout the entire bowl of flour so that the most amount of flour could be dissolved by the hot water. After I carefully mixed for a few minutes, not too long, I thought it would be best to take it to the board and start manipulating it sooner so that I could get everything to incorporate with one another. In my personal opinion, this was the best method and helped me achieve somewhat of a malleable ball, seen here. Now that we have our ball of flour, we can proceed to dividing it into 2 equal parts. Each portion will be rolled out and made into a strip. The strips should be proportional to one another so that when we make our boba balls, they will be similar in size. Once you have the desired size, cut them approximately ½ inch in width, as seen here, and these will be our boba ball babies. Don't forget to roll your babies into balls. Equally as important as creating your boba pearls is making sure that each one is covered in flour. This prevents them from sticking when you put them in the boiling hot water to cook. After about 15 minutes of cooking the tapioca balls, I placed them in a bowl with honey for flavoring. You want to make sure that the honey or whatever sweetener you're using is distributed and thoroughly covers each boba ball. Now for the easy part. Instant tapioca balls are basically a one and done. Place it in the boiling water, let it cook for a little bit, maybe smell your tapioca and do a little dance, mix it, and when they're floating, let them sit for a few more minutes, and then they're done. Next up is the loose leaf Thai tea, which is my favorite. The instructions call for 4 tablespoons of loose leaf to 1 cup of boiling water. I added a lot of tea to my boiling water, but I do like a stronger tea. Remember though, that you can overbrew the tea. If you do end up overbrewing, it will cause a bitter flavor, and we don't want that. So I made sure to boil my tea for only 3 to 5 minutes. Once I fully incorporated the tea leaves into my boiling water, I got my tea container so that I could efficiently strain my tea. The strainer that I used did miss some of the tea leaves, so there was some particulates at the bottom of my tea. Traditionally, a cheesecloth-like material is used to strain this tea just because the particles are extremely fine. But since I didn't have one at the time, I just went with what I had. Last but not least, our instant Thai tea. The instructions said add 1 satchel or 1 pouch to 7 ounces of water. I approximated the water and just stirred it in. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Okay, we finally made all of our ingredients. We have our freshly brewed Thai tea. We have our handmade tapioca balls. We have our instant tapioca balls, and we have our instant Thai tea. The only thing left to do is to flavor the freshly brewed Thai tea to taste. So what I have is I just bought some sweetened condensed milk, and I'm just gonna add this liberally because I know that I usually like Thai iced tea to be on the sweeter side. So we're just gonna take the spoon from here and we're just gonna add some of that condensed milk. It's really thick, but you will see it eventually starting to change colors and become lighter and get that distinct Thai tea color. So I'm just going to taste it now. I think it needs a little more. I mean, when you're adding this, you can't go wrong, can you? Okay, so now it tastes how I like it. So we are just gonna add and try. Oh, let's go with this one. So we're gonna add our tea. We're gonna add the boba, handmade boba first. We're gonna put a couple of these ice chips. And then add our Thai iced tea. It's so orange. Yep, I think that's iced tea. Okay. And since we already have the Thai iced tea, well, not iced yet, since we already have the Thai tea in here, we're just going to add the boba. We finally have our teas, so let's taste. This one is the instant Thai tea with the instant boba. As you can see, the Thai tea is kind of a pale orange, and the boba, they look typical. They're dark, they're round, so. So the boba are chewy, which I like. The Thai iced tea, I get the Thai flavors, but it has a lot of vanilla, more so than any of the other spices usually found in Thai tea, but not bad either. So next up, this one is the freshly brewed Thai iced tea with the homemade boba balls. The homemade boba balls, I didn't add any of the black dye, and because I didn't add any of the black dye, they're more of a white, opaque look. The Thai iced tea, though, you can tell is significantly darker in color, and that's probably just because maybe it was like freshly brewed Thai iced tea. So I think my boba ball is stuck because it's too big. I was secretly rooting for this Thai iced tea to win, but my boba balls, they kind of became larger than what I wanted them to be, so we're just gonna have to work around that. I can't get a boba ball. So my boba balls are very firm. They're very chewy. I must have undercooked them. This would take you a good 5 minutes to finish chewing. So I wouldn't rate my boba balls 10 out of 10. The Thai tea, on the other hand, is very good. I like a strong tea, and I like the other flavors like cinnamon that I taste in here, and they're more apparent in this tea than this tea. So if I could make the best Thai iced tea out of this combination, it would be this tea with the instant boba. Mix those together, and that's the winner. Well, I think I'll have a lot of boba tea for the next few days. Thank you everyone who watched my video. I hope you learned something, because I definitely did. Learn from my mistakes, don't do what I did, and you'll be set. But until next time, see you soon.